Governor Matt Bevin, I want to thank you for joining us, and let's get right to it. The Brent Spence Bridge, you have recently proposed using a toll to pay for it and make it better, rehab it. Tolls at this point going into the election might not be a very popular thing, so why are you talking about it?
Yeah, it's not even a proposal, it's a statement of obvious fact. And the federal government has made clear that no bridges are being built of this size anywhere in America that are not going to be tolled. In fact, look at recent history. There's no precedent for it. This president wants to spend $1 trillion on infrastructure, but has made clear that about $200 billion of that will come from the federal government. 80% will come from local and state government or P3 partnerships. The only realistic way, of course, if I were running for office and wanted to just simply lie to people, I would pretend that this was all going to come from a magic pot of money. But I think every person understands that there is going to be a cost to produce this bridge, and it is almost without question going to involve some form of tolling. Probably variable tolling, so it will depend on local traffic versus through traffic. But these are conversations we have to have in the months ahead.
So tolls likely coming out of the pockets of voters, and we also possible. And we also talked a couple of weeks ago about a gas tax for infrastructure. Also not a really popular thing to talk about at election time.
I'm not a person who needs a political job badly enough to lie in order to get it. I just don't. I'm a business person. This is the first political job that I've ever had. And I believe that what Kentucky needs, and frankly this entire region needs, is some honest, hard facts and some honest dialogue. And so I'm grateful to be working with Governor DeWine. He's a good faith partner in this. And he and I have been talking since before he was even elected about this. I went to his inauguration. It was actually a topic of conversation at his inaugural discussion, as an inaugural speech, talking about this bridge. We're going to get this bridge done, and it will require collaboration on both sides of the river.
The mayor of Covington today told us he is, quote, disappointed to hear that, and that he and other local leaders were counting on you to hold the line against tolls. What do you say to that? Again,
I would love to hold the line against any kind of spending. I'm married and have 9 children. I have 1,000 things to spend money on, not the least of which are the 4 of them that are now heading off to college or in college. And so to that end, nobody likes the idea of paying for things, but if we want infrastructure, if we want new textbooks in schools, if we want law enforcement to be well equipped, if we want things that government provides, it comes at a cost. I am a very fiscally conservative person, probably as much as anybody in governor's offices anywhere in this country. But I also know that we've got to pay for the things we want. And if we want certain things, we, the taxpayers, are going to have to pay for them in one form or fashion. Everything we want government to provide does come from our pockets.
Okay, you have alleged that your competitor in this race, Andy Beshear, is pulling money from who knows where.
Well, that's the reality. He doesn't know where. He's promising things. He's promising pay raises. He's promising bridges to be built. He's promising things to be done for which he literally has no solution. The only thing he's been able to propose is the potential for a fraction of that to be paid for with casino gambling. But literally just 2 days ago, an article came out about the decline where Indiana, for example, has seen a 50% decline just in the last several years in their casino intake. It is fool's gold, and our legislature in Kentucky has made clear that it's not going to ever see the light of day. Based on our legislature. So he has no proposals, Andy Beshear, as to how he's going to pay for anything.
Okay, he has said gaming and also marijuana taxation.
Yeah, again, there's just no political appetite for it. It wouldn't matter whether he wanted it as governor. Our legislature, comprised of 138 men and women, have made clear that neither one of those, the legalization of recreational marijuana or casino gambling, are going to happen. So Andy Beshear is going to have to come up with some better ideas.
Okay, pensions.
Yeah.
It's been an ongoing kind of headache for the state of Kentucky. What are you proposing?
I wish it were only for our state. It happens to be, sadly, a big problem in America. It's about a $4 to $5 trillion unfunded liability among public pension plans in the country. In Kentucky, it's probably about $60 billion. We have to fix it. There's only one way to do it.
You
cannot promise future people that they will receive exactly what current and past people have been promised.
So you grandfather in the people
everybody who's been promised something gets what they've been promised, but you don't keep making the same promise to future people. It's not financially possible to allow people to be retiring in their 40s and 50s, living for 40 years, making 2 to 3 times as much in retirement as they earned. It's just not sustainable.
What is sustainable?
To be able to,
what does the state of Kentucky have to do in your mind?
It's same thing that I've just been saying for 4 years is we've got to go to a defined contribution plan for future employees. It's what the private sector has done. It's
so like a 401k.
401k, 403b, some variation of that. The beautiful thing about this is it allows people, A, to be able to have a lot of flexibility. You're not obligated then to work for 20 or 30 years before you retire. You can leave after 10, 12, 14, take the value that you've saved with you. You can pass that on to your children and grandchildren, just like a 401k plan. It's something that frankly is desired by younger workers. They don't want to be locked into somewhere for 25 or 30 years. So we can't keep promising future people the same thing, and we have to force future governors and future legislatures to pay the obligation that we've already promised. I'm the only governor in the history of Kentucky to ever fully fund the pensions while governor. That's a sad commentary. But it is critical that we do that. I'm also the only governor that has never swept the lottery funds, but has put 100% of those into education. And we're putting more money into our classrooms than we ever have. But the point is this, all of these dollars come from the taxpayer. And at the end of the day, everything we want, the taxpayer has to pay for.
Okay, we have about a minute left, and your campaign ads show you lock in step with President Trump. We have impeachment looming large in our national headlines. Is that a good thing for you or a bad thing for you with your campaign ads? I
think the vast majority of people in America realize that that is an absolute sham. It is a politically motivated sham. And Nancy Pelosi has made clear that she wants to undermine this presidency, and as have others. And what they're doing is frankly a joke. And so I think the vast majority of Americans get this. I think it's very helpful to the president. I don't know that it affects me necessarily, but I think it's inappropriate. I think it's damaging our political process. It's an embarrassment even to the Democrat Party in Washington, even though I don't think they appreciate that it is. And it's not good for America. It really isn't, to make a mockery of the political process.
All right. Governor Matt Bevin, election is next week. Thank you for joining us to talk in advance of that.
Make sure you vote November 5th. Thank you.